we are here for another versus video, BBD versus CVM, and we are playing with some new Theros cards.
I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. So check out our deck text if you want to see the reasons we're playing the decks we are. But I think this should be a fun matchup, and we're gonna do decide who gets to play first. The only way we know how.
With the basic land game.
The basic land game. If you didn't watch our older video where we played this game, basically CVM is gonna pick a land, and I get 3 guesses to try to guess what it is. And then if I'm wrong, he gets to go first, and if I get it, I get to go first. So.
Alrighty. Well, I get to choose.
He gets to choose.
So a lot of times with this game, you can try and level your opponent by actually picking a specific one, or you could just go at random.
Uh-oh.
And I'm just gonna go at random this time.
Oh wow. Okay, that's tough because I felt like I had the read.
That's why I'm going at random.
Yeah. That's a skilled play. Swamp. Not a swamp. Forest.
It is not a swamp. It is also not a forest.
Not a forest. Okay, man. We're down to a 33%er quickly. Basic land plains. Dang it. All right. You got me.
Which one do you think it is?
Island?
You're just wrong on every account.
I'm just the worst ever.
All right, I'll go first.
All right. That is disappointing.
Let's see here. All right, well, this hand isn't extremely powerful, but we do have some very good cards for just about every phase of the game, and I like quite a bit actually. I'm going to keep this one.
I'm going to keep mine as well. Like we have really awesome card in a guild gate, so we get to we get to start the game out fresh, and then we have our mana, and our cards are pretty solid here. So yeah, we will keep as well. Hallowed Fountain go, and I will play a Rakdos Guildgate and say go.
So we have a couple different options here. I could just play this, but I think I'm just going to go this first and pass. Let's go ahead.
Okay, so he could be drawing a card here, or he could be syncopating our play, but we're just going to jam our cards. So if he has it. Young peasy.
And I'll syncopate that.
All right, Pyromancer is syncopated. It's unfortunate, and pass it off to you.
All right, so that was definitely a pretty good draw. So for now, I'm just going to play this Hallowed Fountain and pass.
Okay. Draw. As for us, we are going to go ahead and shock ourselves down to 18. And the reason we do that is because we want to have access to this, and basically we basically want to have access to this in a few turns, and by shocking ourselves now, we disguise the fact that we have it. Now I'm saying that right now so that he can pick up on it. But for the purpose of...
Pick up on what?
Pick up on nothing. For the purpose of understanding, I think it's important to sometimes do that early in a game so that later on you're disguising your lines of play. So I'll play a Boros Reckoner.
Okay.
And pass it off to you.
All right, so we have a couple different lines here that we can make. So I can either just play this or play this. And I think that just playing this now is going to be better. So I'm going to just cast Heliod, God of the Sun.
Seems good.
And then I will pass the turn.
All right. Heliod active. All right, we drew that. Could be good at some point in time. We'll go ahead and attack for 3.
Luck.
Here at 17. And we will play this guy.
Sure.
Purphoros, God of the Forge. Your turn.
So that was...
So if he didn't kill our young Pyromancer, Purphoros would be a creature, but...
That was definitely a good draw. You have 4 cards in hand?
Yep.
So I'm going to play a land here. So I have a couple different options. I can this with this backup, but I kind of feel like I have to hold on to this for some other more powerful cards that are in his deck. However, that Purphoros does have, the potential of just taking over the game. And I think that we can fight the other card that he has with this. So I'm actually just going to Detention Sphere the Purphoros.
Sure.
And then it's your turn.
Boo. So if he didn't Detention Sphere Purphoros, we could have cast an Ash Zealot and swung for 1,000,000 damage and done a lot of damage to him as
I'm
well.
actually going to Essence Scatter the Ash Zealot.
Alright, he is going to scatter Ash Zealot's Essence. Alright, so...
And I use that now because I'm planning on using my mana for the next few turns.
Well, you will get in with Boros Reckoner.
And I'll go to 14.
And it's your turn.
Alright, well that was an interesting draw. And I'm just going to pass the turn.
Okay.
So I have a deck full of awesome instants that I could have anything in hand. I also have Heliod in play, which lets me just turn out tokens if he has nothing.
Send in with Reckoner.
And I'm just going to Celestial Flare you.
Well, that's unfortunate. Go. Fortunately, our draws have not been particularly good. Here comes Elspeth.
Yep, so we get to play Elspeth and make 3 dudes. And I'm 1 away from turning on my Heliod. It's pretty fun. And I'll pass the turn.
I'll Helix Elspeth.
Yeah, I have a feeling she's going to end up dying here.
So I'm at 22.
Yep.
Oh, man.
It's also a pretty interesting interaction here. These guys have Vigilance, so I can continue to attack and still protect Elspeth if she doesn't die. Man. Going up in loyalty and making 3 guys is even better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Like earlier when I was talking about saving something for a powerful card but fighting it with something else, is I wanted to try and save this for an Assembled Legion, but I think I can just fight Assembled Legion with Elspeth.
Yeah, I think so. Unfortunately, like, if we had had Purphoros, this would be absurd for us right now, but yeah, like, you made the right play by getting rid of Purphoros because he was going to take over the game. So
I imagine as such.
So we can play either of these 2 cards, and I think we just play Boros Reckoner. Now, if we had Purphoros in play, we would be able to finish off Elspeth with this Reckoner, but
Yeah.
unfortunately we do not, so we will just have to pass the turn.
Alright, so I think here we're going to have 3 dudes. I think that I just want to start putting on pressure, so I'm going to cast Detention Sphere.
Yep.
And we're going to get the Reckoner, which is going to turn on Heliod.
Man.
And then I'll go to combat.
Yep.
For 8.
I go to 14.
And then I'll pass the turn.
Alright, so he had both of his Detention Spheres, which is very unfortunate for us. This was actually a fine draw. Play Rakdos Keyrune. I'm just going to Helix you and redirect to Elspeth.
Elspeth?
Yep. So that
So you
turns
go to
off
18,
Heliod
turns
and
off Heliod.
puts us back at 18, so we're still in this game. And I'll pass to you.
Alright, so I'm just going to 6 you.
12.
And so I have an option. I can just play this untapped, which just telegraphs what I have in my hand. or I can just play it tapped with, plans to make a token with Heliod on his end step, which 6, 7, 8 I think is probably better than just using this now. Although he does have access to black mana, so he could just have like Rakdos Return or Thoughtseize. So I think I'm just better off just playing this and passing the turn.
Yep. All right, Overload Mizzy Mortars.
See, you thought that wasn't going to be relevant against this deck.
I mean, it's hardly relevant. Go.
I'm going to draw 4.
Yep. I'm going to lose this game regardless.
16.
So. Like, even though Mizzy Mortars was relevant there, if it had been any other card in our deck earlier on when we drew him, it actually would have been much better for us.
And
so
this is actually really bad for you because I just drew another Elspeth.
Yeah.
Which lets me make 3 dudes and turn on Heliod to attack for 5.
7.
Go.
Yeah, I don't really see a way out of this. Yeah, I mean, we can't win at this point.
This guy actually ended up being a lot better than I thought he was going to be. I didn't even use his ability to make a token, but it's just still there to the point where, like, if you happen to handle everything else, like, eventually I'll just be able to make multiple tokens a turn.
Yeah.
And with them being 2/1s, it just does a lot of damage fast.
All right, we are back for game number 2. I got hammered or sun-godded or whatever you want to say.
I think you got Elspeth.
Elspeth, game 1. So I will be on the play game 2. This hand is pretty bad. I'm going to keep it, but it is not an exciting hand against this deck at all. Pretty bad, actually.
I don't think this hand is extremely good, but it has some castable spells and some land that do something, and if I draw a couple things, it's awesome, so I'm going to keep.
Yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't keep this hand because, like, these cards are just not that good against this deck, but I want to see how, like, something like this does, so
Go ahead.
I'm going to keep for that reason. All right.
Go ahead.
All right, he is on the old mono plains plan.
Yeah, we haven't drawn very well this game.
I guess I will go ahead and shock myself and Thoughtseize you. All right, so he has a Celestial Flare, a Supreme Verdict, a Detention Sphere, a Renounce, a Syncopate, another Plains, and a Jace.
Yeah, I kept 3 planes this hand. Haven't drawn any of the lands.
Oh, man. So, yeah. Our hand is really bad against every single one of those cards. Really, like, the only way I see us winning is with this and hoping to get something going with this thing. So for that reason, I think we probably take the Detention Sphere here. I could also see taking Jace, but he's two islands off of Jace, so we're just going to hope he doesn't hit. Yeah, we're going to take the Detention Sphere here. And
16.
Yep. And hopefully this card is able to take it over for us. Go ahead. All right. Draw.
I'm getting what I deserve.
So that card will be sweet. We're going to go to 14. We're really punishing ourselves here. And play Purphoros. And say go. So we were able to sneak Purphoros in. Thankfully, he didn't draw the island to syncopate it. So now we just need to draw stuff to make Purphoros actually good. CVM is plain old mana screwed.
Go ahead.
So, okay, that's a sweet one. He does have a Renounce the Guilds, which kind of sucks. So, I think we might actually want to lead on this. Yeah, I think we want to lead on this. We will play Young Pyromancer, and we get to do 2 damage to you.
18.
And that's it for me. The old Guildgate.
Yep, go ahead.
Alright. Draw. So he can play Supreme Verdict next turn, which is kind of awkward for us. I think we kind of just want to get in as much damage as we can right now. So I think I will play Boros Reckoner, which does 2 to you.
16.
And that turns on Purphoros. So I will enter my combat step.
That's fine.
Alright, so he might have double Celestial Flare, which would really suck, but, you know, at this point in time, there's no reason to play around 2 Celestial Flares. Yeah, I think that's about all we have to worry about, so let's go ahead and attack in for... We'll attack for 8.
Well, I'm going to Celestial Flare you.
Alright, I'll sack a Young Pyromancer.
Alright, which turns off your Purphoros.
Oh, yeah, it does. So.
And I'll take no damage.
Okay, yeah, that works.
I just didn't know if you saw that or not, or...
No, I didn't think about that, so. Go ahead.
I mean, I much rather would have just killed him, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think
Killed
that's
him with the
fine. Like,
flare.
we're going to lose our guys next turn anyway if he plays Supreme Verdict. So.
Yeah, and you have 3 cards?
Yeah. Fortunately, our hand is not particularly good.
Okay. I'm at 16. So I have a couple different options here. So I think best is just to lead this into this. So we're going to Supreme Verdict.
Okay, Reckoner down.
Then I'll shock myself.
You're at 14.
And then pass.
Go ahead.
You have 3 cards?
Yep.
Alright, so I think here the line is just to play this and just basically use him as a factor fiction here. Like, he has to be sitting on like War Leader's Helix. So even if I were to +1 him here, you could still Helix him down and then just play a creature and kill him with Purphoros. So at this point, I'm just racing to lands and Sphinx's Revelation. So I'll play a Jace.
Sure.
And we'll factor fiction him.
We'll split island versus the other 2.
Okay, so I'm going to take the island and play it. And then I will pass the turn.
All right. Something
It
good.
doesn't have a War Leader's Helix. Wow.
I guess I just Thoughtseize you. Down to 12. 2 Syncopates, a Renounce, and a Verdict. We're definitely not taking the verdicts. It's either one of the syncopates or the renounce the guilds. I think I'll take a syncopate, actually. At this point, we just need to draw threats and have them not get countered. So, yep.
You got these?
Yep. Go ahead.
All right, so since my Jace hasn't died yet, I have to wonder if I should just +1 him here or just cash him in for some more cards. I think that I'm much better off just plusing him here.
Okay.
And then casting a Priest Captain.
Sure.
And passing the turn. So I imagine this guy's going to get mortars.
Yep. It's kind of unfortunate for us. I think we just mortars him.
He did.
Go. I guess I'll split Precinct Captain into 2 lands.
You have 3 cards?
Yep.
So I could just take the lands here, since the captain is just going to end up dying to a mortars anyways. Because that's really the only thing that could just be clogged in his hand if he's just not casting anything. I guess he could just have like 2 more Purphoros just sitting in his hand. So I think I'm just going to take the lands.
Okay.
That way I can make a rev even better once I draw it. So I'll play the fountain, and then I'll pass the turn.
All right, come on, anything. Wow. Okay, that's about as bad as it gets. You're up.
Well, that was a very good draw. I'm going to plus Jace, play a land, and then we drew Heliod, so we can start churning out some homeboys.
Yep.
And then it's your turn.
Young Pyromancer.
That resolves.
I will do 2 damage to you and redirect to Jace. Alright, well, we got Jace off the table, and so we might have a shot at this point. And that is all for us.
Alright, well, we're going to activate this on your end step.
Okay.
And get a 2/1 white cleric creature enchantment token.
I'm going to wear and tear.
No! Well, that was also a good draw. Excuse me. So let's... I'll attack you for 2.
Okay, I'll go to 10.
And I actually don't think that I even need to do anything yet. So I think I'm just going to pass the turn. So I drew this and I could have cast it for the turn, but like I have Heliod going and I can make 2 tokens. And I imagine he's just been sitting the entire game with the Son of the Legion in his hand. He just hasn't been able to do anything with because he knows that I have Renown.
Wish. Definitely not true, but we've just been sitting with stone nothing. You're at 14 right now? And you have 5 cards.
Correct.
Guess I will cast Mizium Mortars on your Enchantment Cleric and trigger Young Pyromancer. Alright, so we get an elemental token and I do 2 damage to you.
12.
So now we know he has a Syncopate, so we're pretty much never going to resolve this anyway. So we might as well just go ahead and cast it now and get another token out of the deal. So I'm just going to Rakdos return you for 2 and trigger Young Pyromancer. Like, it's going to get syncopated regardless, so we might as well. Okay, so we get a token first and do 2 to you.
Yeah, I go to 10.
And then Rakdos return gets countered. It's not worth us to attack with Young Pyromancer because he's just going to make a token and block. And our route to victory at this point is probably just trying to burn him out. So, pass the turn to you.
Okay. End of your turn, I'll make a dude.
Okay.
Alright, well, I'm just going to attack you with my dude.
So yeah, it's gonna trade with one of these anyway, so we might as well do it now. Probably Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, I'm going to Verdict.
Okay.
You have 3 cards? Oh. Token
yeah.
doesn't go to the graveyard.
It actually does go to the graveyard, but
It doesn't stay there.
Doesn't stay there. Yep. I have 3 cards. Yes.
All right, so I have a couple different options here, but he knows that I've used 2 Syncopates, and the third one went onto the bottom from a Jace. So trying to hold back mana here at this point isn't going to do much, so I'm just going to play an Elspeth.
Yep.
And we're going to make 3 dudes. And it's your turn.
Well, that would normally be a good draw. Like a long time ago.
This is one card that I see can like actually make the emblem like really good. Like obviously you're going to get guys.
Yeah.
You probably won't have all 9 of them by the time you can emblem, but
Well, we're definitely going to be playing this. Question is whether we want to use these to like protect our life total. Like it's really awkward. I think we might use one of them just to protect our life total a little bit. So I'm gonna enchant my mountain and exile one of your soldiers. And pass the turn. So hopefully we draw something good next turn. There's a few live draws for us.
let's see here. That was a pretty good draw, actually. So I think that I'm just going to actually just cast 100-handed 1.
Okay.
Which turns on Heliod.
Yep.
So he can be chained to some rocks now, but I do get to attack for 7.
I will go to 3.
And then I'll make some more dudes.
Okay.
And it's your turn.
I'll Helix Elspeth. And your turn. So we go to 7.
Yep.
And hopefully we draw a creature. Just any creature. Creature. Not a creature. That would have been good a long time ago. So we are just dead. We can chain Heliod, or we can overload another Mizium Orders, but we're dead either way to 100-handed one Heliod. So we're dead. And I drew this turn.
Finally.
A little too late. All right, so we are back for sideboarding. I'm not 100% sure on sideboarding here. Like, I definitely want to cut all the Mizium Orders. The card's just really bad. Like, sometimes I overload it and kill a bunch of tokens, but you just make more. Like, it doesn't actually do anything. And I drew like 1 million of these in the first 2 games, and they were just rotting in my hand like while you were building up. So I definitely want to cut those. Same with War Leader's Helix. Like, I drew a lot of these in the first 2 games as well. They were really bad. Like, they can hit your Planeswalkers, but they don't kill either of your Planeswalkers. Like, both of your Planeswalkers jump to 5 immediately. And so it's just, having War Leader's Helix just, like, doesn't do anything. As for the cards I want, I definitely want Elspeth. If I get to resolve this against him, I think the card is, like, super powerful against pretty much... we saw how powerful it was. So I definitely want another Rakdos Return, too. This is actually a good way to kill Planeswalkers and strip his hand. Another Thoughtseize is just to strip cards out of his hand. And then Archangel of Thune is just another threat. I don't think it's great, but it's probably better than these cards. And then finally, 2 Wear and Tear, which, again, these are probably only hitting Detention Sphere since Heliod's indestructible. But since Detention Sphere is like probably one of his best cards, if not his best card against me, I think I just have to have an answer to it. Even though it only hits a few cards in his deck, it's just that essential to have an answer to it.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense. Unfortunately, when you have to make decisions like that, like, you open yourself up to the chance of, like, just having it in your hand when I don't have any Detention Spheres.
Yeah.
But the times that you get to kill a Detention Sphere really makes up for it.
Right, and I think, like, I don't think my sideboard is built very well to combat this matchup. Like, I didn't know going in how, like, I thought this matchup might be, like, pretty close, but after the first 2 games, it just seems like you're just super far ahead. So my sideboard is a little, like, underwhelming. Like, I should probably have Sin Collectors and stuff like that in there.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't quite sure how this matchup was going to go either, and I just kind of built a sideboard to try and combat an array of things. And after playing with Renounce the Guilds, I feel like Sphere is just better.
Yep.
So, like, I'd much rather have access to, like, 4 Spheres, and, like, I still like having 1 Renounce in the main and maybe 1 more in the sideboard to bring in as an answer to, like, Obsidian or something.
Right.
But Sphere was just awesome. So I'm going to bring in the 3rd Sphere, and I'm not going to bring any additional Renounces. I'm going to cut the Priestly Captains just because they're just very underwhelming. Like, I know now, obviously, that you're taking out your removal spells, so it definitely makes them better. And if I, don't see any, games 2 or 3 in, like, an actual match against this, I might side them back in for game 3. But I would just much rather have 100-handed one in Heliod. Heliod seemed awesome. 100-handed one, goes very well with him. Priestly Captain goes well with Heliod as well to try and turn him on, but seeing Mizium Orders and Helix in the game 1s makes me just want to cut the captain anyways.
Yep. I actually felt like Heliod was better turned off in your deck.
I agree.
As like, you actually, like, I had a hard time beating you just making a lot of tokens.
Yep.
Since I never had Assemble the Legion to combat it, and if you ever made it a creature, like, I just in game 2 I just had 2 Chained to the Rocks, 2 Mizium Orders just rotting in my hand. Yeah. So if you ever made it a creature, I got to, like, chain it. Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes and make some changes for games 4 or 5 if we want.
Okay. All right, so we are back for game number 3. I will be on the play.
Unfortunately.
Oof. Wow. Okay. Oh, man. This hand has a lot of good cards in it, but it is a little awkward because of the mana. I think I keep this hand, actually, as awkward as it is, and just hope to draw well. I think anytime you have a hand that's this powerful, you just have to keep it and hope to draw well.
Fair. My hand is actually very good yet again, so I'm going to keep it.
Well, hopefully we don't get super ranched again. I will begin with Boros Goatgate. You're up.
And I'll match your Goatgate.
Draw, not a good one. We'll go to 18 and Assault you.
I'll be at 18 too.
You're up.
Nope.
Well, that was a good draw. So we have the option of casting either of these two. I think we want to cast this one here, actually, because next turn we can do this if we need to, if we draw a land. And I wanna cast this first to like strip him of anything that he could play like within the next turn. Whereas if we just like tap out for this and he counters it, then we're just stuck with these and they're not that good. So I'll shock myself down to 16 and Thoughtseize myself down to 14.
You're Thoughtseizing yourself?
Thoughtseize you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thoughtseize damage myself. All right. Wow, that hand is very good. That's wow. Okay, so Celestial Flare. It's Flare, D-Sphere, 100-handed, 2 islands, Heliod and Jace. Whew. So Heliod has been a card that we have been unable to beat. So I think we take Heliod here. And now we just don't attack into a Celestial Flare and say go. We don't want to let him get value out of that flare without any opportunity cost.
I'll pass the turn.
Okay.
So the fact that you didn't take the Detention Sphere leads me to believe that you have Wear and Tear.
Heliod, Jace. All right, so we took the Heliods. We know he has Jace Island, Mr. Heavy Hands, and a Detention Sphere.
And a Flare. I don't think you wrote Flare.
And a
down.
Celestial Flare, yeah. So we could play any of these three. I think it's probably this one. I think we probably play that one. That way if he plays his Jace next turn, we're fine. Yep, I'm gonna play Hammer of Purphoros.
Okay.
And I will abstain from attacking again past the turn.
Oh, you didn't play a land. So your Purphoros actually turns on next turn if you play him. So I have a couple different options. I'm going to play this land since he knows it's in my hand. And so I can sphere something, play 100-handed one, or play Jace. And I think that if I just play Jace, then he could just, I don't know, do some cool stuff and kill my Jace. Like, with all of his guys being able to have haste, there's just so many different options. So I think it's going to be best just to play 100-handed one. Then that leaves me open to a Chained at the Rocks. But I mean, he's going to have to use it eventually at some point. And you have 4 cards?
4 cards.
Yeah, so I'm just going to play 100-handed one.
Okay.
And then I will pass the turn.
Rats.
There's not a land for your Purphoros?
Was not a land.
I mean, you could sack a land and make a 3/3. It does have haste.
I could do that. Yeah, it sounds like an excellent line
It
of
also would
play.
give you a target for your Wear and Tear.
You're at 18?
Yeah. This guy costing only 4 mana is awesome.
Yeah, guy's really good. So we could, yeah, we can play either of these. Or we can play this. I think we want to play Boros Reckoner. And I think we're fine attacking into his 100-handed one and just trading if he wants to trade. We trade 3 damage for 3 damage, which we are behind on life right now, but he's not an aggressive deck. We are. So I think we're okay making that trade. So I will go ahead and send on in the Reckoner.
15.
Okay.
Now, I took that fairly quickly, but that's because I thought about not blocking from the moment I cast 100-handed one, if you played a Reckoner there. Just because like some of the cards in our hand that he knows about and that he doesn't know about are also very good in this situation. So I'll draw a card for my turn.
Yep.
And we will play an Azorius Guildgate.
Okay.
We're going to battle.
Okay, I'll take it. I'm at 11.
And then I'm going to pass the turn.
Not what we're looking for.
Did you keep Guildgate Foundry because it had a bunch of awesome cards in it?
Yep. Like in a 26 land deck, it's reasonable to think that you will eventually draw some lands, but
I mean, I kept that Triple Plains hand because I had 26.
yep.
The cards were also pretty bonkers too.
It's definitely a tough decision. Four, 7. He becomes a 6/8.
Mm-hmm.
That's just disgusting.
He has 100 hands. You know how heavy those are?
Let's see. Well, we know he has a detention sphere, which is really good against us right now, unfortunately.
Do you have another Boros Reckoner?
I'll just thought seize you. So he's a Plains, a Verdict, a Flare. So he's Jace, Sphere, Plains, and Verdicts. And yeah. It's pretty tough. I don't think Supreme Verdict is what we take here. Or Celestial Flare. It's either the Sphere or the Jace. It's probably the Jace. Go to 6. Yeah. I'm going to take the Jace. Another Ash Solid. And pass the turn. We can't really attack here very profitably into a Celestial Flare. So.
Well, that was an awesome draw. It's quite unfortunate for you, actually. I'm going to renounce.
Yep.
and then battle.
All right, we're at 6.
Go ahead. Excuse me.
Or seconder.
Yep.
Your turn.
So I can attack and then flare when he blocks. Put him in the same spot here. I could also just cast the card that I drew, which we'll just end up taking over anyways at some point. So just Elspeth, and we'll make 3 dudes.
Yep.
And it's your turn.
Not sure how we can really win this game, unfortunately. I guess we'll Thoughtseize you. I'll take Celestial Flare. And I'm at 4. I'll attack Elspeth. I'll redirect the damage to another soldier. You're up.
I'll make 3 dudes.
Yep. I have to block 100-handed one here, otherwise I'm dead.
Yep.
So I go to 3.
Go.
I will shock myself and go to 1. I will attack Elspeth with Purphoros Reckoner. I'll redirect the damage to myself.
Yeah. All right, we're back for game 4.
Yep.
Back for game 4.
Maybe I will do something this game. That would be sweet.
I hope so. Like, it's fun and all to win, but when your opponents are just getting like mana screwed or flooded or whatever, it always feels like I'd much rather see what would happen in a normal game, you know?
Yep, yeah. Yeah, my hands have been pretty bad so far. Maybe that's just a sign that this deck is bad. I'm not sure, but this one seems reasonable, so I will keep it.
So does this one. It's not super awesome, but we'll see what happens.
Go. So I'm not going to lead with this because I want to play it off of this.
So I'll play Guildgate.
Draw. Interesting. I think we'll go ahead and... Yeah, we'll go ahead and... Well... I think it's best to shock ourselves now, so that next turn we can play this tapped and still cast this, and it'll save us actual points of damage down the line. So, go to 18, cast Young Pyromancer. You're up.
All right. Well, that was an interesting one. I'll just play it at Plains and pass the turn.
Exciting. An exciting line. We will go ahead and cast a Thoughtseize and make an Elemental from Young Pyromancer. Alright. Jace. Mutavault. Islands. Plains. Revelation. And 2 charms. So I think we can beat Jace with our hand. Hopefully, because of this. Well, I don't know. It's definitely not one of the Azorius charms. It's either a Sphinx's Revelation or a Jace.
I agree.
And I'm not sure which is scary, but I think it's Sphinx's Revelation. It's just the scariest card here. So, yeah, we'll take Sphinx's Revelation. And I don't really want to attack with my Young Pyromancer and get it charmed, since I don't... Well, actually, that might be alright. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that, actually. I'll attack the Young Pyromancer.
I'm going to charm it.
Okay.
Normally when your opponent knows that you have a charm and they still attack with their creature into it, you don't really want to do it.
Go ahead.
But I found from being on that side, I always run that bluff because most people won't charm. And a lot of times, like, when they do charm, it just feels like, oh man, well, I guess I didn't really want that to happen. So
Right.
we're hoping that's the case here. But, like, I'm playing, like, a Supreme Verdict deck, and so, like, the least amount of damage that I can take to slow you down, the best. And I have another charm to draw a card if I need to later, so.
Exactly.
So I think here that I just play this Mutavault. And then I'll pass.
Okay. We will draw this card that we don't know what it is. Very, very shocking draw off the top. And we will play this guy.
Sure.
And pass the turn. We can't really attack here because if he activates Mutavault,
Yep.
we just lose it.
I'm going to draw a card.
Okay.
Right,
the reason we were fine attacking to his charm is because we knew we were going to play this, so now we get to do 2 damage off of Young Peasy.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that one was actually a good draw.
Comes Jace. Nope, 100-handed one.
I mean, Jace just gets destroyed by Purphoros. So we'll just play the old hundo, and then I'll pass the turn.
Yeah, that guy is very annoying to deal with, to say the least. Much like our draw steps have been.
Being it, like having 5 toughness is just awesome.
So I'll play a Young Pyromancer and do 2 to you.
Man, it's not with the Legion.
Yeah, that's a card we don't see very often. I'm going to chain
Thoughtseize.
him to the rocks.
Oh no. Just complaining about how hard it is to deal with the card.
It is. It is
And
very
then
hard
he
to
has
deal with
the
the
answer
card.
for it.
I know one of your draws is a D-Sphere. Don't need to bluff it to me.
17.
And pass off to you.
Alright, so we haven't had awesome draw steps. But we do have this Jace. We have 1 card?
Yep.
So now that he used his Pyromancer, he still gets to use Purphoros to pump his guys, which will still get some damage through to Jace. I'm going to cast him anyways. And
Okay.
we're going to +1.
Sure.
And I'll pass.
All right. Draw a card. Ooh.
Hopefully it was a bad one.
It's not a bad one.
Oh no.
So we have a land. We can pump our guys twice, which is exactly enough to kill his Jace. I think that's what we're going to do. So we'll attack Jace with both and
Triggers.
double pump our guys.
So
3
1,
and
2, 3, 4, 5. Yep.
Yep.
Just enough.
And pass the turn.
Alright.
Uh-oh.
Play Elspeth, make 3 dudes. And I'll pass the turn.
All right. Thankfully, we have a perfect answer in our hands.
I mean, if you have an Elspeth.
So actually, that was an interesting draw too. You have 2 cards in hand.
Yep. I guess you could have Rakdos return.
So let's see.
Which does not bode well for me.
think we just play it all out this turn. Yeah, I think that's what we do. So I'm going to go ahead and Rakdos return you for 2 and trigger Young Pyromancer. So I'll get an Elemental and do 2 to Elspeth from the Elemental. And I'll redirect Rakdos return also to Elspeth.
Okay, so Elspeth goes to 1.
Yep. Then I will play an Ash Zealot and redirect the damage to Elspeth. And
all right.
I will attack. Okay, and you take 2.
15.
Down to 15. All right, brick off the top. Go. Can I get a brick?
I'll take an Elspeth. Underhand one would be nice too.
Purphoros is almost turned on as well, which is pretty sweet.
I'll pass.
Okay, passing the turn. And draw.
Purphoros is awesome.
Purphoros is pretty sweet.
You ever draw an Elspeth, I'm just stone dead.
I guess. Yeah, we get him with both. I don't want to trade her a Pyromancer yet. I will just double pump. So you take 4, go to 11.
11.
These guys trade off. And I'll pass the turn.
Good.
All right. Attack with Ash Zealot. Sure. Go ahead. Not bad. I will play a Boros Reckoner. Dome you for 2, so you're at 9.
Yep.
It turns on old Porphyrigmos, and we will send in the team.
He doesn't have haste.
He does not have haste. Send in the team. Alright, I'll pump the team. So you take 6.
3.
Go to 3. Go.
And dead.
Awesome. Alright, we actually won a game. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah. Alright, so we're back for game 5, and I'm finally on the play. And I don't get a keepable hand, so a mulligan.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm very happy about that, because I am a very spiteful individual. My hand is pretty good, actually. I should mention I made a few sideboard changes. I cut a Wear Tear and cut an Archangel Thune to bring in 2 more Chain to the Rocks because of how E Honda was just like slapping me around in some of the games. So I felt I needed as many answers to a 100-handed one as I could possibly have. And so I wanted more Chain to the Rocks as a result. And I felt cutting down to 1 Wear Tear is fine. It's only for a Detention Sphere, and I still I want to have access to it in my deck somewhere, but I don't want to overload on it. And then beyond that, I have Archangel was just kind of another card I had in there. So.
All right, I guess I'll keep this one.
Okay. You're up.
Go.
Ash Zealot.
Yep.
Attack for 2.
18.
All right, here you go.
So, because of how this hand is going to play out, I think that I just want to sphere this now.
Okay.
And then pass.
I am just going to play Blood Crypt and say go.
Many hands. Go ahead. I feel like he's going to get chained, but But oh well. I'm on a mulligan here.
Yep.
And we got a plan.
I think my favorite ice cream is probably Rocky Road. So we will chain him to the rocks and then play a young Pyromancer. And say go.
Go.
And cards in hand.
3.
Alright, well, we are going to make a valiant attempt at Rakdos returning you for 3.
Well, your trigger's going to happen, but I'm going to syncopate it.
Okay. So return got syncopated, unfortunately, and we will still get in there for 2. I'm going to get in there because he didn't Celestial Flare my Ash Solid, so he probably doesn't have one.
16.
Okay. Call the bluff. You're up.
Go.
It tells us to go. Draw. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a very good one, actually. So I probably should have done this last turn as well, but I'm going to go ahead and Thoughtseize first off and get an elemental from Young Peasy. That way, if he has like another Syncopate, we're not just like, whoa. Hello, lots of things. I will take a Sphinx's Revelation. I'm at 18. Shock myself. Ooh, 16. And I am going to Rakdos return you for 3 and trigger another elemental.
Wow.
Yeah, I was willing to jam my first Rakdos return into a Syncopate because I had the second one. It might have still been better to Thoughtseize first, but here, even if he Revelates for 2, we still get his entire hand.
I'll draw a card.
Okay. So he's going to try to draw into a Syncopate, I think. And does not. So you go to 13,
Yep.
and then I'll attack for
10.
Yep. You're up.
I'll take a Supreme Verdict. Go.
And
5.
I will play this Elspeth. And take it up, making some soldiers. You're up.
And I landed. I'm dead.
Alright. Alright, we are back for the conclusion. It was definitely some interesting games. A lot of new cards definitely made their presence felt. Like Heliod beat the crap out of me, 100-handed one beat the crap out of me, like over and over again.
I'm actually really impressed with the new cards so far. Like, Chain to the Rocks seems really awesome.
Yep.
Heliod and 100-handed one seem really awesome. Purphoros and Elspeth are both really awesome. Thoughtseize is obviously a good card, even though it's not new. I didn't expect them to be as good as they were.
Yeah, like Purphoros actually wasn't really like that impressive for me. Maybe it's because like I just never had Assemble the Legion a single time. But he got to do a couple of damage. He killed Elspeth a few times, but like most of the time he's just sitting there not really doing anything. So I feel like I probably need more creatures in my deck to like really play off of him, or like I just need to draw Assemble the Legion more often, or build my deck a little bit more to take advantage of his abilities.
I definitely agree with that, and I don't think Assemble is where we want to be. I think Purphoros with Elspeth seems awesome.
Yep.
Like, Elspeth by herself will win games, but like if you're just like Purphoros into Elspeth, they literally are just dead. Like, that interaction just seems really absurd. I'm kind of sad you didn't get to do it, actually. Like,
yeah.
Like, if you would have had Elspeth in one of the post board games, it would have just been. I honestly don't know what I would do.
Yeah, like I like it would have been sweet to have you have like a Jace or an Elspeth, and I just get to play my own, take her up, put 3 guys in play, and kill your Planeswalker.
Yeah.
Or something insane like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd been sweet.
Yep. Yeah. Overall, I was pretty I was very happy with a lot of the new cards. The hammer I only saw a couple times, and it was like one time I was just dead on board when I drew it, and the other time I was stuck on 3 lands all game, so I didn't really get to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that could be very good. It's definitely something I want to play with more.
I feel like the part about that card that's going to be the best is the make a creature portion of it.
Yeah.
So I think that some type of control deck as opposed to something like Purphoros is actually going to be the best for it, which is kind of weird because like it's his hammer, but it rewards you playing like more lands and spells to control as opposed to just playing guys.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I felt like this deck would actually be very good fitting for it because I have 26 lands and my curve is not that high.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured like I'm probably going to flood out a decent amount, and that's like insurance against flooding out.
That makes sense.
So, and it's also good with Purphoros by, you get to do an extra 2 damage whenever you make one.
Yeah.
Kill planeswalkers and things like that.
Yeah, which really starts to add up. Like, there's still Sphinx's Revelation in the format to gain life, but I feel like a lot of people have forgot what 20 life is really like because we've had Thragtusk for so long.
Yeah.
Like, being able to do 20 points of damage is going to be just enough now, whereas opposed to before you had to expect to do, between 25 and 35 to somebody because of Thragtusk and Resto Angel. But now just like getting 6 damage out of Purphoros, even without attacking with him, is just going to be game breaking.
Yeah, like a card like Gutter Snipe was just like really bad before because, yeah, you maybe trigger Gutter Snipe 5 times and do 10 to your opponent, but they're just attacking you for 10 with the 2 Thragtusk that undid everything he did.
Exactly.
But now, like those little like nickel and dimes right now might actually be pretty relevant without cards like Thragtusk.
Definitely, 20 feels a lot lower than it used to. I'll tell you what.
It does, yeah.
Any changes that you think that you'd want to make to the deck?
Definitely. I liked a lot of the cards. This matchup seemed pretty bad. I managed to win like 2 games, and maybe like my draws were just bad, and like the matchup isn't as awful as I think it is. But like the games I lost, I just didn't feel like I even had a chance. Like sitting there with like Mortars or Helixes in my hand against like Elspeths and stuff. So I feel like there's a lot of cards that might be worth considering, like Pithing Needle for one. Just play it on turn 2 or whatever and name Jace, and then I don't have to worry about Jace ever again. Or it's an answer to Aetherling if that ever becomes an issue.
It shuts off Heliod and Elspeth too.
Yep, shuts off Heliod and Elspeth. Elspeth's a little bad if I'm playing my own, but yeah, shutting off Heliod's perfectly fine, and if he ever becomes a creature, I can just chain him to the rocks, so I'm not too worried about that. It was just his activated ability that was actually a big problem. Mm-hmm. Dreadbore's another card. Dreadbore kills 100-handed one and your planeswalkers, so I think that could be a pretty key card. Dreadbore's in a lot of the block constructed decks. I ended up cutting it because I want to try a lot of the new cards, but it probably should just be in the deck again.
Yeah.
And then Slaughter Games was another one, just to hit Sphinx's Revelations.
Definitely.
Or Jace's if I need to, or whatever.
Or Elspeth, or
whatever.
What have you.
Yeah, like I can Thoughtseize you into your hand and then figure out how I want to Slaughter Games based on that. But I feel like a lot of these kinds of matchups is, like, if you don't have a Sphinx's Revelation, I eventually grind you out with like cards like Assembled Legion or whatever. But if you do have Revelation, then you will just draw into like a Renounce the Guilds or a Detention Sphere, and then it doesn't matter. And I just don't have a way to catch back up. Like,
Plus, I feel like cards like Elspeth like give you game to actually fight Assemble, and even 100-handed one at some point will just be able to become a 6/8 and kill 5 of your guys each time they attack. So
kill 6 actually.
6/8, so just 7, and actually can block 7 of them.
Yeah, it can block 7, killing 6, and that pretty much like. I don't think it doesn't beat Assemble, but it definitely
gives me time to draw.
It buys you plenty of time to beat Assemble. Yeah,
yep.
Like I have to wait until I get like.
Plus
7 or 8 counters on
plus he has
for
Vigilance, so like I can attack, and you have to keep back a token
to block every turn.
To block it. So.
Well, I mean, I probably can't even attack until I have like 15 or 20 tokens anyway. So, yeah.
So I mean,
100-handed one seemed really good. I was pretty impressed by him.
Definitely.
And Heliod too. I was actually impressed with all the new cards. So yeah, definitely exciting stuff. I'm sure next week we'll have more spoilers. We'll get to build more decks and try out new things. So. If you guys see new cards that have been spoiled since the point of this video, or cards we didn't play that were already spoiled that you think you want to see in a deck or something, like let us know in the comments. We'll definitely like take those into consideration when we like put together our decks for next week.
Definitely. Also keep in mind that we film these, a few days before they actually go up, so that our wonderful technical wizards here at StarCityGames.com get to actually edit everything and put all the cool images and graphics in. So by the time this video goes up, I'm sure there will be awesome cards spoiled that we should have had in our decks that we didn't. So, don't slam us too hard in the comments on that.
Yeah.
One thing I'm looking forward to is it has been confirmed there will be a cycle of dual lands. We just don't know what they're going to be.
They might even be out.
Who knows?
They might be out by the time this video comes out. So yeah, I'm sure there might be cards that we haven't seen yet by the time we film this that'll be out. So
yep.
If we didn't play in our deck, then there might be. I mean, we might just be dumb, but there's probably a reason why. So
yeah, we're probably just dumb.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for BBD, this is CBM again, guys. Thanks for checking us out this week, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.